Hey everybody, welcome back to The Stuff of Legend. My name is D'Lo and I've got another video for you guys today. Today we're going to be talking about a very fun topic, which I love. I absolutely love this topic, despite the fact that it is a rumor. It is not actually a confirmed piece of news, but it is something that sparks conversation and it is taking the internet by storm. And I'll explain that as well. I wanted to talk to you guys first about the rights. I want to talk to you guys about what we're going over. I'll show you guys the article that we're going to discuss from MCU Cosmic. I've got that linked in the description so that if you guys want to do your homework afterward, you absolutely can. And I always encourage that. I'm all about truth on this channel, so I want to make sure that we don't convolute the rumors and my speculations with what will be happening in the real world. What is the actual truth, and will we be able to find that in this video, in this article? So let's go ahead and break into that really quick. I'm gonna go ahead and switch my screen over. Let's see if I can get going with this one. Let's see if I can get on the where did it go? Supposed to have this one here. Let me see if I can disable that. There we go. I got it. All right. So now I've got this up. I've got the news article here so you guys can see it. Let me see. Just click got it there so you guys can get the full view of this. Now, I want to talk to you guys about two characters that are fan favorite for most of you guys, and they're personally two of my favorite characters in Marvel. I'm really sad that we haven't gotten more of the content from these two characters, and I actually was a little bit disappointed by Hulk's transformation in Endgame. It served a great purpose, and I think it can go somewhere wonderful, but I felt like in the movie, in the moment, it was a bit of a letdown. And so in that respect, I do hope that this rumor pans out to be true, because then we'll finally start to get some real solid Hulk action again. So without further ado, let's go ahead and read this article, and then I will get into my thoughts and we can break this apart, okay? Really break into it. Let's go. Rumor. And keep in mind, this is rumor, not fact, okay? So just keep that in mind. Grain of salt, everybody. Rumor. Marvel Studios may have gained full control of the Hulk and Namor. Always pay attention to the word may. May have, might have, possibly, not for sure. So then let's go ahead and read this one, okay? It says here, one big obstacle Marvel Studios has faced for its entire history involving the complicated rights issues surrounding Hulk and Namor. While Disney is free to use Hulk in any team-up movie, they couldn't realistically produce a solo Hulk film due to complications surrounding the distribution of the movie. And then despite the common belief on the internet, Marvel could always have made a solo movie, but the chances of Disney actually distributing it and profiting off the money that went into it were very slim. It continues on to say, that's because Universal held the rights of first refusal. I'm going to go ahead and highlight this for you guys. Universal held the rights to first refusal for any solo Hulk film. They had first dibs at distributing it. Now, this part we know to be true. Kevin Feige has effectively confirmed this much, and it continues on and says, and only if they passed would Disney be able, or would Disney be free to release it themselves. So basically what we're seeing here is up to this point, I'm going to put that as our marker so you know where we're at. Basically, up to this point, Disney has the ability to make a Hulk film, but Universal then has to choose whether or not they want to release a movie they didn't have to pay to make, and they could benefit off of all of the money that comes in from the box office, which Disney, of course, doesn't want to do. They don't want to spend a ton of money making, and time and energy, making a Hulk film that someone else can just walk up and say, that's a good movie. I'm going to go ahead and put that in theaters for you guys. Put down not very much money to get into the theaters, and then reap the benefits of all of the labor and the finances that went into that film to make it in the first place. So basically, Disney has been kind of like, no, Marvel, you don't get to make a Hulk film because we're pretty sure that Universal's just going to go, yeah, we're going to distribute that for you, especially since they know the track record of Marvel. They know that the track record for Disney Marvel has been wildly successful. So they haven't made it because they don't want to lose money. So even if the film is $1 billion, $2 billion film, which it won't be, it could be $1 billion, and that's very, very possible. But I'm just saying, no matter how much money the film makes, it'll all go to Universal because they're, of course, going to choose to release a film in theaters, reap the benefits without having to put the money in to make it. So that is something I think is a no-brainer, and that makes sense. This to me is the clear and obvious reason why Disney Marvel has not made a second Hulk film since the first one, which of course was distributed by Universal. And so that's the primary obstacle. So let's continue reading this. But he says here, but who would pass up the potential $1 billion opportunity that comes with an MCU movie these days? Exactly. So that's exactly what he was just saying there, but that's exactly what we know from what distribution rights are versus the right to make the film. Marvel has the right to make the film. They do not have exclusive rights to distribute. Universal gets first crack at that. And that's really where they're going to make the money back from making the film in the first place. So it continues on and says, I'm only putting this out there as a rumor. So let's take one more look at this. I'm only putting this out there as a rumor. Again, guys, 200 grains of salt with this because he's telling us it's not confirmed as fact. And he says here, not as fact. But I've heard from someone very reliable that Marvel has gained full control of Hulk and Namor. And then he says, so those pesky distribution hurdles no longer exist. It's very doubtful that they'd ever do a solo Namor movie due to the success of Aquaman, but they'll use him as both a villain and potential future Avenger. So right here, guys, I just want to point out that he says that this whole article, this whole idea was it stems from a rumor, a buddy or a friend or a contact or a colleague of his, who he cites to be just a source. He doesn't say who it's from, but he just says someone very reliable, and that's it. And so that's what we have to go on, is that he confirms that it's not a fact, but it's something he heard from someone he considers very reliable. And this guy that's writing the article is no chump. Jeremy Conrad is someone that, look, check this out down here about the author. It says, Jeremy has been active on the web since the 90s. He once ran IGN DVD as well as other sites and worked in the video game industry on Star Wars Galaxies. When he's not pursuing the future of Marvel movies, he's really into tech. So this guy is in the industry. He would have some connections, but that being said, he himself said, you can't take this as fact. Please just take this as a rumor. And then from that rumor, he goes on to say his 2 cents about speculating what could be from the basis of a rumor. So this is like an if-then statement on an if-then statement. You can't really base a whole lot off of it, but it is fun. And if this does end up panning out to be true, this will be my favorite rumor for the MCU so far in the last 5 years. Because I love Namor. I love the Hulk, and I've been wanting them to do much more with the Hulk than they have been, like many of you guys. And so I'm going to go ahead and just break this down one more time, not from the top, but from where we left off. So he says, only putting this out there as a rumor, not as fact, but I've heard someone very reliable, random source, that Marvel has gained full control of Hulk and Namor. And then he jumps into his speculation right out the gate. So these pesky distribution hurdles no longer exist. That right there is an assumption. If it's true, then these pesky distribution hurdles are no longer existing. So he doesn't have to, Marvel wouldn't have to worry about distribution. But that's an assumption. It's very doubtful they'd ever do a solo Namor movie. I disagree. He says basically, Jeremy Conrad says that because Aquaman was successful, it's doubtful that they'll do a solo Namor movie. But I do not believe that to be the case. You see that what did DC do that Marvel did not do? DC put out Wonder Woman. DC put out Wonder Woman and had a huge franchise-ready female action superhero lead role. They dropped it out there for the world to see. And then right after that, you get confirmation that Captain Marvel is going to be getting a film as well. And then there was immediate talks and rumors and whispers about the Black Widow project. We already heard about some of those things, but Marvel is not going to shy away if DC has a success. They're not going to say, oh, let them have their success and we'll just play it in a different sandbox. They're going to say, DC did it. We're going to crush at that. And we're going to keep plowing along. We're going to keep doing that. We're going to try to do it better. Plus, Aquaman was based off of Namor. Namor came first. Namor was the original. He was the first Marvel superhero. He existed before Marvel. And then when Marvel became Marvel, bought Namor, and then he was their first character, which is pretty crazy. And then later he was reintroduced in the Fantastic Four run as more of an anti-hero, more of a villain, as opposed to the hero of his own story, which is often said to be the same thing. So pretty cool. Lots of fun. Now, what I will say about this is that I do think that Namor they have said that Namor has been in the conversation for being in Black Panther 2. I've said this before as a wish. Before Infinity War came out, I was saying they really, really need to do Black Panther 2 with Namor. That'd be a great way to introduce multiple mutants. That'd be a great way to introduce the entire world of Atlantis and all the characters that could come from that. It'd be a great bridge between a lot of the Fantastic Four related characters. Namor is considered one of those, Silver Surfer and Galactus. But you could also talk about, for instance, the Fantastic Four. You know, Black Panther was a Fantastic Four character. Namor was reintroduced to more of the public. More people got to know him through the Fantastic Four run. And they have that in common. Namor and Black Panther have the Fantastic Four as a sort of a root source for general recognition in common. And they hate each other. They absolutely hate each other. The war for vibranium, the war of the two kingdoms, it's a big deal. And also he hates, he goes all the way back with the first Avenger, Captain America. He goes all the way back and fought in World War II because he's old. Like, Namor McKenzie is an old dude, but he doesn't age the same way that everybody else does, because he's a mutant and his I don't know what it is, rejuvenation and all that stuff, maybe living in the depths of the oceans, stuff like that. But he's awesome. I freaking love him. He's way better than Aquaman. I don't care what anybody says. And I think Marvel would do him justice, and they would not shy away from giving him his own film. In fact, you could introduce him into the universe in Black Panther 2 as a villain, but then give him his own film and show how he's misunderstood, but he will not shy away, and he doesn't care if you misunderstand him. He's just going to keep doing him and being a savage and fighting for what he believes is right and just for his people and his world. I think that'd be sick. It'd be a great way to reintroduce even the Fantastic Four if you wanted to go that route. Like, drop some shared characters littered throughout the MCU and then drop in the Fantastic Four so you could kind of soft intro them, maybe in some after credit scenes, mention them a few times. That would be a lot of fun. I'd love to do that. And then as far as Hulk goes, you hear this, the next part of the article, so I don't waste too much time, guys. I know I love to ramble, I love to rant and talk about these things, but feel free to hit me up in the comments. Ask me what you guys want me to talk about. I'll get to those comments and questions after I get through this article. So then it goes on and says, this could explain why Kevin Feige invited Mark Ruffalo to pitch ideas for the Hulk. They could now make and distribute a solo Hulk film of their own without worrying about Universal. Then, and that again is the assumption that this is already past that, but again, rumor, unconfirmed. Even Jeremy Conrad, the author of this article, says it's not confirmed. Please take this with a grain of salt. It's just a rumor. And then he speculates off of that. And so he says, then it'd make a lot of sense to see if there was any ideas out there for such a thing. I think that doing a movie for the Hulk is a bad call. And here's why. Unless you're going to do like a big one-off event like Hulk versus Wolverine or something like that, which is often done as a kind of a one-off like run that just punches you in the face with a quick storyline. Not even much storyline. It's just an event basically. That would be really good for the Hulk. But if you're going to want to tell some stories that people can really dig into, I think you have to do a show. I think you have to go Disney Plus with that one, honestly, because the most successful Hulk franchise that has happened so far outside of the Avengers and collective collaborative events was the Bill Bixby, Lou Ferrigno TV show. And the reason for that was because they showed him to be the lonely man. They showed him to be a guy that cares about people. He wants to help people. He's got a great heart, a genius mind, but he cannot put down roots, and he cannot have the life he wants, a simple life with just fall in love with a woman. In the case of the MCU, Betty Ross. In the case of the old TV show, they never really locked on to one lady. But that was part of the tragedy. That was part of his story, which I think was more compelling than even the Betty Ross storyline. Was that he couldn't settle down because he was a Jekyll and Hyde. He was a ticking time bomb, and everywhere he went, just like they said in the original Avengers film when they kind of really introduced the Mark Ruffalo Hulk, was he's a ticking time bomb, and he's the monster that everyone's afraid of, because he's afraid of himself too. And that's the thing, is you got to tell the tragedy of the Incredible Hulk. It can't just be whimsical. The first Avengers was not whimsical with the Hulk. He was very, very serious, very intense. He was on edge. And then after that point, he kind of became, he kind of just became some strength that the team fell back on, and comic relief. And that to me was a bummer. I love comic relief. I've got nothing against it, but for the Hulk, it takes away what I believe the Hulk is, and what I've known the Hulk to be, and the respect that I've had for the character of the Hulk. It just doesn't feel the same, but that's not too late. You know, if they just tell more of the Hulk stories the way that the Hulk was written originally and basically always, outside of the MCU, I think it would take off brilliantly. Tell the first real tragedy outside of Infinity War in the MCU. Do a hard tragedy of the Incredible Hulk, and do it in a 6-hour, 8-episode run on Disney Plus. I think that'd be really cool. And do it in the spirit of the Incredible Hulk TV show with Bill Bixby and Lou Ferrigno. I think that would be the big seller. That would be amazing. And then he says here, one last note here before he ends the article. He says, Feige did also say that the chess pieces, in quotations, were very intentionally left the way they were following the events of Avengers Endgame, which means there is a future for the big green guy in the MCU. And if this rumor turns out true, he could potentially get another solo movie someday. I agree. I think that if it's true, and if it does work out the way that Kevin Feige and the team have been planning it, they clearly leave tons of doors open and tons of questions unanswered. And they did that like they did in Spider-Man Homecoming. What happened with the Tinkerer? What happened with the Avengers Tower? Who was the buyer? You know, who are the villains that are coming in, or who is the characters that are coming in to buy that place? Is it going to become, like Oscorp Tower? Is it going to become the embassy for Latveria? Is it going to, what's going to happen with that tower? they don't tell you because they want to leave their options open. And now they've acquired Fox. They can do a lot more with those property rights, with those character rights. Is it going to be Wilson Fisk in the Tower? They just had to wait out the time that after Netflix Marvel's deal canceled, they have to wait 2 years after the last Daredevil property in order to use those characters again. And then they'll have Wilson Fisk back, so they could do that if they wanted to. There's a lot of options on the table, but if they don't answer those questions, they can figure out what they want to do with them later. Leave them open-ended, and that's exactly what I think a lot of people have seen, but also Jeremy Conrad. Jeremy Conrad has seen that too with Avengers Endgame, seeing how Hulk was left a bit damaged. He will probably heal in time, as he always does. Even with damage as crazy as the Infinity Stones basically blasting his arm to wither away, there's still possibility. He's still probably going to come back full recovery and kick some butt later. Is he going to stay Professor Hulk? I honestly don't. I hope he does not. I hope that it goes in a different direction. But maybe they're planning for a storyline where he has found unity with his green self, but he starts to realize that he just wants to be Banner again instead of both. And he doesn't want the superhero life. He wants a normal life. And that's when you can dive hard back into tragedy of the Incredible Hulk. And that, I think, would be the best thing. Go with the lonely man. You can't go wrong. And so, yeah, that's pretty much what I was going to say there. I have a couple of theories. So let's just recap what's going on here. First off, one thing to note is that Marvel can make the Hulk movie whenever they want. They can make a show, they can make the movie, but they can't distribute it unless Universal says, no, it's okay, you have all the fun and money, which they totally will not do. And they know that. They're not stupid. So they're waiting for that. If the rumor is true, then we can get movies and or TV shows for the Hulk and Namor. Namor, I believe, is probably much more complicated. But if it is true, we could finally get to see him as a villain in the MCU, probably also get his own property. The details on Namor have never been clearly laid out, but if it's the same company that Hulk was, odds are is that the deal was similar. Not the same, but similar. And so I don't think that this personally, if I could give my opinion on this, I don't think that this rumor is true right now, because odds are there would be more rumblings, more murmurs, and other outlets would probably be sharing this other than just Jeremy Conrad. I, of course, am talking about it. You're going to find a lot of nerds like me talking about it, but official news sources will probably not run this article. Very unlikely outside of speculative pieces referring back to this rumor. So that's pretty much what I'm thinking there is true, but I do hope that it's true because this is the best rumor I've heard all year. Even though it doesn't have, I say all year, I don't mean just 2020, but within the span of a year. So 12 months going back from right now, best one I hope is true. And also, let's see. If Jeremy Conrad was told a false rumor, if his source was not accurate, and he was told something that was not true, then Hulk, it's very simple. Hulk doesn't get his own properties just yet, but we will still see him in collaborations, like Thor Ragnarok, like the Avengers, etc. And Namor, if it's not true, just doesn't show up yet. We don't know the details of his rights and distribution policy. We don't know what that is. Marvel's never been clear on that. But we can probably bet that status quo will remain and that they don't have the rights yet and they can't use him and won't use him. But if the rumor is true and it's told true, then and it happened that these projects will get films and shows again soon, then we will start to see Hulk films or possibly Hulk shows. I've already weighed in on that. I think the better route to go is a Hulk TV show. It's better to show him maybe even hopping around from town to town, meeting people, helping people, saving people, rescuing people, and then being misunderstood and having to leave the town because people are afraid of the monster. That would be awesome. It would kind of harken back to when we first saw him in the Avengers, and he was hopping around, what was it, India or somewhere, and then Black Widow shows up and he's basically saying like, you're a ghost. I have to go from town to town. It hasn't been an incident in a while, that kind of stuff. So that would be fun. And then if it is true and Jeremy Conrad was told the truth by his source, another thing is something that I think would be true. My speculation is that Namor would happen in films as a hero and probably also as a villain. I think he'd come in first as a villain. Set him up as the villain of Black Panther 2 or another franchise, maybe even the first villain, quote unquote, for the Fantastic Four. That would be pretty crazy. I would hope they start with like Mole Man or Puppet Master or someone like that first, and then get into other characters that are bigger, more collaborative, like Namor. Give him a bad guy to really take down, but don't make it Doctor Doom. I do want Doctor Doom to make an appearance in the film, but I would prefer it to be as a looming presence in the background. Maybe you see like signs for Latveria, and you hear him talk about the Latvian embassy or something like that, and what's going on there. And then at the end of the film, you get an after credit that shows Doom has the Fantastic Four on his radar, but he's not ready to make his move yet. Make him kind of a Thanos level big bad that doesn't die, that they don't end up taking down. He's someone that they constantly have to overcome, and he's, that kind of stuff. He's got to be a lasting villain. You don't take down Doom. I'm okay with you taking down Thanos, but you're not taking down Doom, dude. Doom's got to stay. And that's just how I feel. But after that, I will say this. If the rumor's true, I think that we have a couple more options. I don't know if you guys were aware, but Namor is in fact a mutant. So that is part of it. I mean, obviously the rights to Namor are very, very convoluted because he is an Avenger, he is a mutant, and he does his rights to some degree or another belong to Universal, and probably partly belong also at Marvel. I'm not sure how that works exactly. No one is completely certain except for the people at Marvel and probably the people at Universal. But that's what we're looking at here. So there's a lot happening there. Now they have the rights to him as a mutant. They have him as an Avenger. And they have whatever they have to whatever degree as a Marvel property, but there is still the inhibition of what part of his rights does Universal hold. And if it's anything like the Hulk, we're still waiting for them to come to an agreement on how Marvel and Disney can still make money from either the box office, the merchandising, whatever it's going to be for Namor and Hulk. So, and I would think that merchandising would be enough, but after the fiasco with Sony and Sony and Disney over the box office and how much percent Disney wanted, they wanted to give themselves a raise and keep the merchandising rights. It's preposterous. That was one of the most lopsided, unfair deals I've ever heard in my life, or the deal proposal anyway. It was already considerably in Disney's favor. I keep saying Marvel, but it's Disney's favor. And Sony was like, you know what? Sorry, I'm not going to give you 100% of everything. So sorry, we're going to walk away. And then eventually Disney caved and said, okay, fine, let's come to an agreement. And to me, that's probably going to be the way that it's going to have to go with Universal. They're going to have to give something. And Disney doesn't like to give. They only like to take. So, and that's why they're the biggest company in film today. So, yes, I think that that's something that's going to have to happen. Anyway, other things I was thinking about this. What if it's a partial truth? Like, what if Jeremy Conrad's source was told something that was maybe in the works, but he, maybe didn't understand it fully or spoke too soon, that kind of thing. What if it was maybe true at the time? Maybe there was a deal going between Disney, Marvel, and Universal, about these rights between Namor and the Hulk? What if they're being worked out as we speak and they're saying, look, we'll give you X amount of profit from maybe the Disney Plus stuff, or like we'll give you something, you know, off the top of the merchandising profits or something like that. It's hard to make these speculations without actually knowing the deal that is the arrangement currently. You know, when it comes to Sony and Disney, it was pretty easy to make judgments and discernments because we knew a great deal of what was going on. They made public, they manifested their entire arrangement currently and what was being proposed. They made that a public discussion. And so we were all able to talk about it, speculate, talk about what we thought was going to happen, predict that they were going to have a falling out and then eventually come back together. That all happened the way that most of us predicted. So, yeah, but with Namor, we know almost nothing. And with the Hulk, we know what's going on, but we don't know how they're going to come to that arrangement. Someone and Disney is probably not going to bend. They're probably going to be like, no, give us the distribution rights. We don't want to give you anything. And then Universal's going to be like, look, I'm not going to not take free money. I have the rights to it. Sorry, guys. You make a film, I'm taking money. So I think hopefully maybe Universal comes to a different proposal where they say, look, maybe we'll give you guys the box office, but we'll take merchandising rights, or they'll flip it and say you get half the merchandising rights and you make the movie and you'll get popularity in the MCU, you know, something like that. I think it could end up, even if Marvel does make that movie, they put all the money into it and Universal takes all the box office from that. That's going to suck initially, but if they have some degree of merchandising rights, they're going to make a crud load of money. They're going to make a ton of money off of merchandising. Merchandising makes multiple times, depending on your property, but the Marvel properties are very strong in merchandising. The merchandising rights will make you multiple times what the box office ever could. That's a fact. And so, yeah, that's something that I think would be highly beneficial to both parties, is to just make something, make anything, come to a light arrangement where Disney profits only a little bit, but it'll help you in the long run because the next projects you do with the Hulk are going to blow up. So and that's a big part of it, is basically free advertising for your films. That's why they had Spider-Man in Civil War, was because they knew it was going to blow Civil War up. And that's why they've been putting the Hulk in their films. They've been trying to get as much out of the Hulk as they can without having to give money to Universal. So yeah, that's pretty much what I was thinking. So yeah, I mean, I don't know how you guys are feeling about this. I like this rumor, but I think we can come to the agreement that it is at best unconfirmed. At the very best scenario, what we can take away from this article, factually, is that it is at the most an unconfirmed truth, and at the very least, it's flat out false. And just a rumor at that. So there's no confirmation, no way to verify it, no source to track it back to from Jeremy Conrad. Like this is where the buck stops. This is where the trail goes cold, is right here. So there really isn't anywhere else to go with this, but I do hope that this rumor is true. I really like the idea of getting Namor into the MCU. I've been saying this for as long as my channel has been around. Since the end of 2017, pretty much. But Hulk as well, I think, is a sorely underused property. And I think they could do considerably better, not only with the Hulk, but with the actor they have right now. Mark Ruffalo could be used significantly better than he currently is. And I hope they do that, because they really need to get back to who the Hulk is. Hulk fans have been kind of disappointed lately. If you talk to a lot of hardcore Hulk fans, MCU fans love the Hulk in the MCU, but Hulk fans are not very happy with what they've been doing with him in the MCU, for the most part. Now, he gets some action too, but most Hulk fans were disappointed in Infinity War. Most Hulk fans were disappointed in Thor Ragnarok, a lot of them, just with the way that he was characterized. And also in Endgame coming back with Professor Hulk. It can go somewhere cool, but they didn't get there with him in Endgame. So, yep, those are my thoughts. So I'm going to go ahead and take the comments right now. I've got one from Hunter Iggy. Hunter Iggy, what's up, my dude? I'm going to go ahead and shift my screen over. That way I can just talk to you directly. So Hunter Iggy says, what are your thoughts on Matt Reeves' Batman movie pictures? Ooh, that's interesting. Let me see if I can find that. Matt Reeves' Batman movie pictures. Let me see if I can find this. I'll click on the one from CBR so you guys can see this as well. Let me see if I can get here. So running down, this is the first time I'm seeing these actually. I saw an article that said that there was photos, but I did not get a chance to do that. I was at work today, and yesterday I was extremely busy, so I wasn't able to take a look at those. But let's go ahead and just click into a couple of these. Let's go to Twitter. Running down the Thames today and see this. Gotham News. Oh, that's cool. Interesting. So they got the street blocked off. They got, what's that in the road? That's cool. Gotham Water and Power. Filming new Batman. Interesting. So they got a bunch of shots of some police officers, some city workers that are from Water and Power, Gotham Police. Interesting to see that we're seeing Gotham in the daylight. That is weird. I don't know that I've seen Gotham in the daylight very often in pretty much anything. Let me just see if I can see this again. Maybe there's new pictures on this one. It looks like for the most part these are the same. I don't see Robert Pattinson in any of these or any of the confirmed actors that I'm aware of. So this looks like a set piece for some extra shots, extra scenes. Super cool. Got some officers there. These are all the same. So I haven't seen anything else yet. Let me go back to this article and see if I can find another one. That's cool. So it's just Gotham Water and Power. Tri-corner cab. We go a cabbie. Not that they're British. Interesting. So not a lot to go on actually. So if I'm gonna give my thoughts on the photos, the set photos or whatever, then I think I'm gonna need a little bit more than just this, because it's kind of like saying it's like taking a look at the set photos from Batman: The Dark Knight Rises, and you see the city hall where Bane is, but then there's no Bane and there's no Batman and there's no like armies coming together or whatever, no war in the streets. That's kind of what we're looking at here. This could be an epic set shot that they're going to do. It could be just the daylight and then they're waiting for night to fall so they could shoot the nighttime scenes. We don't really know what's going on here. But if it is daylight, I'll tell you what, that's really rare. That as simple as that idea is, Gotham in the daylight, I did not expect to see Gotham in the daylight. So that's pretty cool. Thanks for letting me know about these. That did in fact subvert my expectations for this film. I am starting to question how much I know where they're going with this film. Because for the most part, like, you hear Batman film, new Batman film, it's like, okay, great, I can't wait to see what the new guy does with the stories we already know. And that's clearly not what they're going to do. I'm grateful that they're going to be diving into more detective aspects of Batman as the greatest detective, because that's something we haven't really seen a lot of. A little bit of detective work done here and there, but as a moment, but not as the focus of the film. And I'm excited to see what they do with Robert Pattinson. I've got really no presuppositions about Robert Pattinson. I haven't seen him in a lot. I've never seen Twilight, so for me, I've got no inhibitions about him as an actor, and I don't have any prejudice towards him either. I know a lot of people seem to be very upset about him for being in that franchise, but I think that's a crappy thing to hold against an actor, because there's a lot of actors that were in crappy things, but you don't say, oh, I don't want, no one says like, I don't want Christian Bale to be in like Christian Bale was in Equilibrium, I don't want him to be Batman. People don't say that. It's Christian Bale. Like once you see him as Batman, if he does a great job as Batman, then the whole world's gonna love him. No matter what crappy films he's been in, even though Equilibrium was pretty cool. But I think it was hated by the critics, if I'm not mistaken, which no one cares about. Who cares about the critics? So anyway, it says, hey, there is a picture of Robert Pattinson on Twitter. Search bar, click. Okay, let me see if I can get that before we close out. Robert Pattinson Batman pictures. Let's see if I can get it. That's not it. That's the Doom Patrol. So I'm not seeing it yet. All I see is this from Bat Source. Possible set photos for the Batman. That's pretty much what we just looked at. So I don't see anything else. Perhaps I'm not seeing it. Type Robert Pattinson Batman on Twitter search bar, then click. Okay, Twitter. This is the last attempt, and then I'll wrap this video up. Robert Pattinson Batman. Oh, you're right. Hey, that's pretty cool. Huh. Dude, how old is that bike? That's pretty sweet. Yeah, so this is pretty awesome. So they're going to do some shots of him on a motorcycle. That feels very like young Batman. That feels very Dick Grayson. I know that Batman in The Dark Knight and the Dark Knight trilogy had a motorcycle. He had the Bat bike or the Bat cycle, however you want to say it. But this is like an official, like, this is a real motorcycle. It's not like a Bat cycle. It's a cycle. It's a bike. And so, yeah, this looks pretty cool. I like how grounded it's looking. I mean, it's Gotham in the daylight. You can see everything. He's got a normal looking backpack on, jacket, regular bike helmet. I mean, this is probably him as Bruce Wayne, as a younger Bruce Wayne, not necessarily in a Batman mode, but I'm sure he's doing some daylight detective work. Because, of course, when he is Bruce Wayne, he's undercover. That Bruce Wayne is the cover. Batman is who he really is. That's his real life. So, yeah, I really like this. I'm going to go ahead and like that. There we go. In fact, I'm going to freaking retweet this. You guys can check this out. Dude, sick. Feeling good about this film. The Batman. I'm going to do The Batman is Coming. There we go. All right, that's pretty sweet. Hey, thanks for letting me know that, man. Hunter Iggy, you rock. Thank you so much. I'm going to go ahead and cut back to this. And I wanted to show you guys, I've got some new designs on TeePublic. So as we close out, as we're getting ready to gear up, I wanted to show you some of these cool new designs I've got coming. I've got going on right now. Let me just go ahead and go back to my my main page right here. Let's just go back to this one. There we go. I've got some Star Wars. I've got some more Legend art and stuff. I've got Batman and Catwoman art designs, t-shirts and mugs and things and all that kind of fun stuff. So if you click on one of these things, these designs, it's going to let you choose the color that you want. It's going to let you pick the size, the style, and then you can go ahead and go, oh, hey, you know what? I want a softer t-shirt with softer fabric. Boom. You got it. You can do whatever you want here. Get the different fabrics, hoodies, stickers, kids shirts, kids clothes, mugs, phone cases, laptop cases, wall art, like all kinds of fun stuff you can get here. You want the iPhone 11 Pro Max, you can absolutely get it there. You can get it in slim. You can also get it in protective. Lots of cool stuff. You got a Galaxy S9, you can absolutely do that too. Tons of fun things for you. And this is going to help me stay funded, actually. So I don't do this stuff for free. I actually pay to have my Adobe account open so I can use Photoshop, Premiere, a lot of other things and subscriptions and utilities that I pay for. The YouTube channel does cost me. So if you guys want to get some cool merch for yourself, that will help fund my channel. That'll help fund the things that I do. If you guys want to see like more Funko Pops, more Funko videos, I can do plenty of those videos for you guys. And that also helps to recoup some of the funds that it takes to get those Funko Pops, because I'm not sponsored by anybody. So that being said, there's free ways to support me. Like, share, comment, subscribe. Those are the best ways that you can support me for free. It costs you guys nothing but a couple seconds of your time, and it means the world to me, and it helps my channel be discovered by other people, because there's a flood of other people that do what I do or things like I do it, but I'm the only me, and the only way that I'm going to grow is if you guys help me out with like, share, comment, subscribe. Those 4 things are going to help my channel grow. And if you want to help fund the channel financially, get yourselves some TeePublic merch at my merch store, linked down below in the comments. I'm sorry, in the description of the video. So that being said, let's go ahead and close out. Guys, thank you so much for watching this video. If you like this video, be sure to give it a big thumbs up. Also, be sure to leave a comment down below and let me know what you guys had to say about the discussion we had today on these topics. Is it a rumor? Is it true? Is it false? Do you believe it? Do you want it to be true? Let's talk about those things in the comments. I can't wait to have that conversation with you guys here. So anyways, thank you guys so much. Subscribe before you leave, and I'll see you guys next time right here on The Stuff of Legend. Hey guys, D-Lo here. Thank you so much for watching. If you like this video, give it a thumbs up. And remember to share this video with all of your nerd friends. I know you got them, and you know who they are. Leave a comment below and let me know what you thought about this discussion. Let me know what you would like to see me do a video on next. Subscribe to the channel because you're a legend, and we have that in common. Also be sure to turn on notifications to be notified right away when I upload my next video, or so that you can be alerted when I go live next time. That way you'll never miss a thing. Check out the other videos on the channel so that we can have a discussion on all your favorite movies and TV topics. Thanks again for watching. Stay tuned for more right here on The Stuff of Legend.